Us here. We have opening song, How Great Thou Art. I invite I invite few ladies to join us to sing the opening song.
I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, I bow throughout the universe display. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Last verse. With shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Amen.
Thank you, thank you. One more time, I would invite everyone who are still behind, please come back and join us here in the sanctuary. Um, Before we begin, Ruth has an announcement to make.
Good afternoon, ladies. We had it planned for tomorrow, our monthly women's ministry meeting. And because of the weather, we decided to postpone it. We are not canceling, we are postponing it. And probably will be next Saturday in the afternoon. I will send an email to all the ladies that I have on my emailing list. And I will confirm to you the date and the time. But I just don't want anybody coming here tomorrow and then we are not going to be here. So just a precaution because of the weather. We don't know exactly how this storm is developing. I heard that the heaviest of the rain wasn't going to come until the evening, but we never know. So just for precaution, it's better to postpone it. So keep in your calendar for next week, Saturday, August the 27th, probably at 2:30 in the afternoon, but I will send an email to confirm that. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here. It's Once again, it's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Rosita Kirshman. And we thank you so much for coming back with us and give us another health presentation that it will be very beneficial to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Rosita. It's your time.
This, there, test, it's working. Very good. So we're going to talk about headache today. And I was talking to the pastor, and we heard him during the message that he doesn't get headaches. He's a very blessed man, because those headaches are very painful. And sadly, children get them. As usual, let's start with a little statement from Ellen White. So closely is health related to our happiness that we cannot have the latter without the former. A practical knowledge of the science of human life is necessary in order to glorify God in our bodies. It is therefore of the highest importance that among the studies selected for childhood, physiology should occupy the first place. How few know anything about the structure and function of their bodies, of their own bodies, and of nature's laws. It's important to know a little bit how your nervous system works, your digestive system works, your endocrine, skeletal system, your cardiovascular, respiratory, your kidneys and urinary tract, and the male and female reproductive system. This is a very fun book that I used when I was a medical student, and it was great teaching me about physiology. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained. In headache, it's very hard to find the cause, but there is a cause, and we're going to talk about it. All will seek to avoid the result, but will not labor to avoid the cause which produced the effect. Your body is punctual, brothers and sisters. I cannot emphasize that. Remember, whatever we learn about today, your body on time wants its sleep. On time it wants its water. On time it wants its food. If you postpone that, you may pull back the clock, but your body says, hey, you know what? In 6 minutes, it's lunch. You need to give me food. So what happens? Your body starts secreting all the hormones and the juices that it needs to take care of what's coming inside. So do not underestimate the fact that your body is punctual. Now, there is a lot of treatment handled by psychiatrists for headaches. I am not going to go through that. Your doctor, you can talk to your doctor about this, because like for prevention, they give beta blockers, anti-epileptics. Years ago, I took my son, who was 14, to the headache specialist. After talking to him for an hour, he wanted to put her on Topamax long term. My niece was on Topamax for 2 years. She couldn't remember things. She had to come off because of her headaches. Tricyclic antidepressants for a headache that I can prevent. And then, of course, there are abortive agents like ergo, a poison, triptans, ditans, and other things, antagonists of those peptides that we're going to see how we can prevent the headache from coming. I'm going to tell you a few terms so you'll be familiar with it. When we talk about vasodilation, sadly it's a little blurry, sorry. Vasodilation, it means when your arteries become bigger, they dilate. Vasoconstriction means when the diameter of your blood vessel or your artery becomes smaller. So now you know when we talk about that. Also, when we talk about arteries, it's in red. Usually the arteries are colored in red. When we talk about veins, they're colored in blue. Arteries bring the good, oxygenated blood full of nutrition to your organ, while the veins take away the metabolites and carbon dioxide back to the heart and to the lungs. And the lymphatic system, I'm not talking much about lymphatic system, but that's going to be in green. Another time we'll talk about the lymphatic system. But we're going to talk a lot about the nerves. The nerves are going to be in yellow. And we're going to talk about neurons. I just tell you, a neuron is a cell in the brain or in your spine that carries the electricity and the neurotransmitters to every cell and your brain and everywhere in your body. So your brain has neurons, okay? And they look like this. And the neurotransmitters are chemicals that one neuron gives out and goes on receptors on the other neuron. That's how those cells communicate with each other. So you know these terms. Here are some of the neurotransmitters, and we're going to talk a lot about serotonin, about glutamate, and GABA, maybe some others. And they have a complex chemical structure. Many of them are pretty rich in nitrogen. And the neurotransmitters, these are their precursors. And we will see there are foods that will increase the amount of the precursor. Precursor means the molecule that is needed to make the neurotransmitter. And we need to be careful what we take if we are predisposed to have these headaches. Now, there is a list of headaches called secondary headaches. They can be life-threatening, and you need to go to your doctor. Today, we're going to mostly talk about migraine headaches. But what are those secondary headaches? One, it can be systemic symptoms like fever, arthralgia, myalgia. Those are caused by bacteria, viruses, which we talked about 5 weeks ago. And those are usually, if the headache is caused by those, it does respond pretty well to Tylenol or non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, such as Tylenol, aspirin, or Advil. Number 2, malignancy, HIV, immunosuppression, diabetes, hypertension, all that could cause you headaches. If you're not someone who has regularly headaches and suddenly a headache comes, especially a bad headache, you better go see your doctor. Number 3, neurologic deficits, like if you fall down or if you fell a few days ago and now you're having neurologic symptoms, if there is bleeding in your brain, if there is trauma, tumors. I'm just telling you these things quickly so you understand that if you get these, you need to go see your doctor immediately. If you're older than 50 years of age and you don't have a history of headaches in the past. Some people who get migraine headaches after age 50, their headaches decrease, but many others, it doesn't happen. Again, if suddenly the headache comes, a sharp, strong headache comes, you need to quickly go to the emergency room. If there is papillary edema, which is edema inside your eye, this is an ophthalmoscope. The doctor can look inside your eye and see if there is edema inside, and that's a bad sign, okay? That means the pressure inside the brain has gone up. So it can be a tumor, metastases, bleed, whatever. And then if the headache is positional, so when you're lying down, it may get worse, or when you're putting pressure or coughing or crouching down, it gets much worse. You need to go see the doctor. Finally, if I have regularly headaches and suddenly the pattern is changing, again, I need to go see my doctor. I told the Valsalva maneuver when you increase the pressure in your body. Okay, now, we're going to talk about the primary headaches mainly, okay? They call it primary, but it's not really primary. You will see as we go that there are things that cause these headaches. Of course, there is tension headache, from fatigue, lack of sleep, migraine headaches, which is extremely painful, and then cluster headaches, which it happens in people who are smokers or from drinking wine, some cheeses, and dehydration maybe. Migraine, that's where I'm going to focus mostly. The symptoms of migraine are, of course, the pain, pounding pain, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes vomiting makes the person feel better. Sensitivity to light and sound, pain usually on one side, but you know what? That's not a rule, all right? It can be different. Some people get relieving bowel movement, stomach pain, and then there is this inability to focus. And we will see that can actually be an aura that comes before the headache. And those dirty chills, some people get dirty chills. I call it dirty chills because it's not because of fever. You take your temperature, you don't have temperature, but still you're having chills. Dizziness, feeling of faintness in the stomach, bad mood, and belching. And I'm sure there are people who have other symptoms. The aura, let's talk a little bit about aura because it's accepted in the medical field that the aura comes before the headache. But I tell you, not always, okay? What is causing that aura is a change in the electrical charges that spreads through the brain, and that's what it's supposed. It's called the cortical spreading depression, or CSD. That happens sometimes in people who have had trauma, brain trauma, in the past. But you know what? The studies that have done over this have been mostly done on animals. I can't even imagine how they do headache studies on animals. But anyway, they have done it on animals. And the human model is really lacking. So it's really uncertain if the CSD does cause the migraine headaches. But one thing that is that is worrisome with CSD is that you can also see it in cases of ischemia or seizures. So that's why, brothers and sisters, if you're a headache person, it is important to know the causes and to stay away from it, because over time it can lead to ischemia, and I personally have, or symptoms of ischemia at least. I personally have experienced that, which is very scary. I knew, here's the article from which I took that. I show you very often articles, scientific articles, so you don't tell me I'm making it up, okay? But we had a sister at one of our churches who in Mexico had some neurologic symptoms, was diagnosed with brain tumor just from the symptoms. Came to the US and had a brain MRI, and they said, oh, the tumor has disappeared. She was getting ready for surgery. And then about 2 or 3 years later, she was hospitalized for a stroke, a young lady. What I'm trying to tell you is you need to take care of these headaches, because over time, it can give you maybe trouble, and serious trouble, or predispose you to serious trouble. So the risk of stroke is there, like people can wake up and they don't apprehend or feel well one side of their body, people who get daily headaches, all right? Now, these auras, which are with the eye, is called a scotoma. It's these fuzzy, blurry things they see around their visual field. That's one of them, but it doesn't always happen, okay? Some people, before they have the headache, they want to eat. It's like their stomach says, I want food, give me more food. But they don't get satisfaction. And then a few hours later, the headache starts. So they eat the food, but the headache comes and gets worse. Again, the brain fog, you wake up in the morning and you can't remember where you put things, and you can't remember what you ate for breakfast at lunchtime. Your brain it doesn't connect well. The other thing is depression. You have feelings of depression. You want to cry. You want to isolate yourself, and you get grouchy. You just can't put up with people in your family members. You attack them, okay? And you know that this is not your usual behavior, and a few hours later, that headache comes. Now, what is the mechanism of pain in headache? And that's very important. If you understand that, it's going to help you a lot. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in the brain, in the lower part of the brain, okay? And they're responsible for many things that we can't fully control, and some things that we do control. What we're going to focus on is the largest one, trigeminal nerve, which is number 5, in Roman capital numbers, 5, the two blue ones. They're in pairs because your brain always have everything in 2 copies, one on the right side, one on the left side. And then many things cross over before they go down to your body. And then later we'll talk about the number 10, vagus nerve. But mostly I'm going to right now focus on the trigeminal or number 5, okay? These are the different things that these cranial nerves do, but the trigeminal nerve is what controls the face and scalp sensation. And later we'll talk about the vagus. Now here is a picture of the nucleus of this trigeminal nerve 5, and it divides into 3 branches, and it covers almost everything. I'm going to show you a picture here. The green, which is the skin of scalp, eyelids, and conjunctiva. The blue, the second part of division of trigeminal nerve. Did you ever, I don't know if there are migraine people here, sometimes you just have an ear pain, or sometimes you just have a sore throat, okay? But you're not sick, you don't have a cold, so where is that pain coming from? And then the third branch, chewing muscles, mastication, and tongue. So it covers really all this, the sensory, and part of the motor of all this area. So both sensory and motor fibers. You can feel touch, pain, temperature, pressure, and mastication. Now, the way it happens is that these are the neurons, the nerve cells of the trigeminal nerve, 5. Something excites them, okay? That's what the plus means. And then these nerves are going to give out these 3 peptides, vasoactive peptide, substance P, or the calcitonin gene-related peptide. Of course, vasoactive means it acts on the diameter of the blood vessels. Substance P and calcitonin related peptide are involved in inflammation. They're mediators of inflammation. And remember the neuromediators I showed you, histamine, also prostaglandin, and serotonin. I told you about those. So the way it works is that, by the way, Another name for serotonin is 5-hydroxytryptamine, 5-HTP. You will see there are foods that increase that can give you a headache. One of them, by the way, is cheese or chocolate, and chocolate, I should say. These mediators of inflammation cause an dilation, increase in the diameter of your blood vessels, which goes through the meninges. The meninges is like a cap that covers the brain. And then what happens is, you see that's the meninge. You see that? It's taken aside. Under it is the brain. It's like a swimming cap over your brain. What happens is that you get pain in your head and your face. So what did we say? We said neurotransmitters, vasodilation, increase in the diameter of the blood vessels, and inflammation. You remember that. And we talked about trigeminal nerve, which is 5. Okay, so you remember that. That's why when you get a headache, you have to think about what you did yesterday. Okay? It's not what I did right now, what I ate at lunch right now. What did I do yesterday? Okay? Well, yesterday I ate everything as usual. I did everything as usual. I'm walking around saying, oh, I went to Costco. I had a sample at Costco. That's the only different thing I did yesterday. But I didn't read what was in the ingredients. And boom, today I wake up with a headache. All right? Okay, let's talk about vasodilation. What happens when the diameter of your blood vessels increase? There is leaks. Okay? Things leak in the tissue around it. It's like a rubber band. Stretch it, okay? What happens is things leak out from the holes, okay? Things leaking out causes inflammation in the tissue surrounding it. It stimulates the nerve endings of the trigeminal nerve, nerve number 5. Pain receptors are excited. The neurotransmitters go in that area to the trigeminal nerve, and boom, you have a headache a few hours later. Here is a larger picture. What I just told you, that's the nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. It goes to the thalamus, and then you have all this pain in the cortex, in the swimming cap that covers your head and your face. All right? By the way, the hypothalamus is right below the thalamus. You know what that controls? Your temperature. Remember I told you those dirty chills? Okay, now there is the cluster headache. I'm sorry, it's blurry. But when you study the mechanism of cluster headache, which is mostly in men with increased stress, they drink alcohol, they smoke cigarettes, it really comes to the same as migraine. Dilation of the blood vessel and neurotransmitters. The same with tension type of headache, which is caused by muscle tightness, dehydration, stress, or lack of sleep. So again, it's going to be a dilation of the blood vessel that will bring the pain. Vasodilation causes congestion. I'm not talking about congestion like a cold, but it brings too much blood and inflammation into your brain. Now you say, oh, why are you showing me the heart and the blood vessels? We're not talking about the heart, but I'm going to explain to you why I'm showing the heart. Remember that the heart is being in the center of your chest, has major blood vessels coming out. And some of them go up to your brain, and some of them go down to your digestive system. That's me when I was a kid. okay? My parents just overdressed me, okay? It wasn't even cold out, but I had to sweat. My mom said, you have to sweat. What happens to this kid? The blood vessels enlarge in the brain of this kid, okay? As I grew up and I graduated to become older and older, first I went to that and then to this. What's the problem here? My head is being overheated, and then the center part of my body is getting overheated while the arms are not. Remember, most of the vascularization, because the heart is in the chest, is in this area. If you overheat it, you get congestion in your brain and right below it. Remember that, okay? You look at all the blood vessels that come right up from your heart, all right? You don't want to dilate these blood vessels. You don't. One other cause is when we exercise or walk too long in the sun, in the heat. Okay, I know the sun is healthy. It's very good. It gives you vitamin D. But if you're a headache person, remember, this is a lecture about headache. If you're a headache person, you need to be careful with the sun and the heat, because that can give you a migraine headache. Now, one thing you can do, if you're a headache person and you have been exposed to a lot of sunshine or heat, okay, you can go in the shower right after when you come home, and don't say Dr. Rosita said go take a very cold shower and then you get sick and you say it's my fault. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is go in the shower and lower the temperature gradually until you're comfortable with the coolness of the water, and hit your head and your chest and your stomach with as cool as your body can tolerate for a while, okay? Put it on your scalp, on your face and ears, your neck, your chest, and your stomach. That will help you a lot, okay, to abort the headache. Imagine you have shoulder pain or neck pain, and you're a migraine headache person. You put a heating pad on your head and neck area. Tomorrow morning, 24 hours later, you'll have a migraine headache. I was at Home Depot in July for a light bulb. This young man who's helping me in the month of July is wearing a ski cap. And then he says, oh, it's so hot here. Oh my gosh, it's so, I feel like telling him, take your ski cap off. Okay, if you're a migraine person, young people, they like to wear these ski caps. Well, you overheat your brain, you get vasodilation, all right? The day after, you can have a migraine headache. Tight clothing. What happens when you wear tight clothing? You're pushing the blood up, okay? And many other things. When if we talk about digestion, you will see how that's detrimental to the digestion, by the way. God knows where your stomach goes, where your bowels go, where your liver, everything gets displaced with this very tight clothing. Now, clothing must be comfortable on you, okay? But what's the problem with these kids here? It's cold out, they're wearing their jackets, but gee, their legs are exposed to the cold. So what happens when your legs are exposed to the cold? You get vasoconstriction. The blood vessel becomes smaller. So where does all the blood concentrate? Here, and it goes to the head. You want, if it's cold out, you need to cover your legs and your arms and also the rest of your body. Don't go out. My brother used to go out with his heavy jacket in Washington, D.C., and wear shorts. You know what? He is a migraine person, too. That's a very nice and comfortable dress. But if you're in an air-conditioned area or it's cold out, your arms and here, this area is exposed. So the blood vessels constrict Where does the blood go? It focuses in the center. So you can get a headache. The same here with this lady. Now, we talked about the blood vessels going up. Now let's talk about the blood vessels going down. The aorta that comes out of the heart, that's the descending aorta, also goes and vascularizes the stomach, the digestive system, and all that. We're going to focus on the stomach, and I'm going to explain to you why. That's the abdominal or descending aorta. The celiac branch goes and brings arterial blood to your stomach. That's the pancreas in yellow behind your stomach. That's a more enlarged picture. Okay, you don't want to enlarge these these arteries, because they're right under your heart. Then the congestion can, if you're a migraine person, goes up to your head and you can get migraine headaches. Also, this is a cut of your stomach. The stomach plays a major role in migraine headaches. Actually, you know what, if you read the writings of Ellen White, she always talks about food and stomach related to headache. This is a cut of your stomach. You see how there are 3 layers of muscle. These muscles, we cannot talk much about that today, but one day, I don't know if you have had lectures on digestion, these muscles need to be kept in good shape, because that's what digests your food and gets food out of your stomach into your small bowel. So these muscles are very important. And the mucosa, the epithelium is also very important. Now remember, I told you I'll tell you more about the vagus nerve, number 10. So we talked about the trigeminal nerve, number 5. We talked about vasodilation. We talked about inflammation. And now we are going to talk about the stomach and the nerves that innervate your stomach. Vagus nerve is number 10, cranial nerve number 10. Look at this. This is your cranial nerve number 10, okay? It brings all the information, neural information to your stomach. It goes up around the heart and follow it. Go up, 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 up. You get where? You get to the medulla or the brainstem, where also the trigeminal nerve 5 is located. They're going to be right next to each other. So when we talk about the nerves, the vagus nerve going up, we're going to say, follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Where do you get? Boom! In the medulla, where number 5 is also located. You see this? Vagus is here. Trigeminal nerve is right there. Now, there is a link, and I'm going to show you. I took this from a scientific medical article. There is a link between the trigeminal nerve 5 and the vagus nerve 10. Who found out about this? Actually, the dentist found out. It makes it possible to enhance either feelings of anger, fear, anxiety, pain, increasing inflammation, or the sense of well-being and peace. Remember those pictures I showed you, that when people get these headaches, the aura, they get angry. They don't want to put up with other people. They get depressed. They want to cry. Okay? They're stressed out. They can't think straight. So all that is connected to each other. But when the vagus nerve in the stomach is working fine, you're at peace. You're fine. The complex interaction between the vagus and trigeminal nerves is becoming clearer through recent research that has noted their connections through nerve stimulation studies related to treatment of neuropsychiatric disorders. When the vagus nerve 10, responsible for the functions of the stomach, is functioning properly, then you don't feel nauseous. Remember, people with migraine headache, they want to vomit, they're nauseous. So you don't have the gag reflex is diminished, the stomach is calm, heart rate is slow, and breathing is normal. Stress can cause the vagus nerve to operate. Here is the article I told you about, okay? Now, brothers and sisters, if you get headaches, and I'm shocked because I thought, did you know that more than half of the population of the world gets migraine headaches? It is shocking. Unhealthy, dilated stomach, full of bacteria, yeast, creating toxic gases will irritate your stomach, will cause migraine headaches. I'm going to talk a little bit about H. pylori. One of our brothers here told me that my stomach has acid in it. There is no germs in my stomach. Then what's H. pylori? You tell me, where does H. pylori come from? I'm going to tell you where it comes from. You see how it's like an S, like a spiral, okay? As you see here, look carefully, you see it's like a cork, okay? It's a Helicobacter. H stands for Helicobacter. It's like a cork. Not a cork, I'm sorry, a corkscrew. How you say it, Paul? Corkscrew. Yeah, you know, when you open the bottle of wine, the shape is like that. Oops. Oh, you see here you see the shape also. Okay, many of the tightly spiraled bacteria or spirochetes that colonize the stomachs of animals can also cause type B gastritis in humans. They found it in pigs, pork, and other dogs, cats, other animals, even monkeys. So H. pylori in animals is called Helicobacter hylamani. It's a German name. But one of the attributes is that it is extremely resistant to acid, inferred from its ability to colonize the acid-secreting parietal cells. Who knows what else do the parietal cells of the stomach secrete? Secretes acid, intrinsic factor. Who knows what's intrinsic factor? It binds to B12. That's how B12, vitamin B12, is absorbed in your small intestine. So if I have H. pylori attacking my parietal cells, not only the level of acid goes down in my stomach, what else can be affected? Absorption of vitamin B12. I had many questions last time about vitamin supplements. By the way, did you know that these vitamins are not made from your fruits and vegetables, these supplements you buy at Costco and all that? They're made in laboratories, okay? And they're synthesized. For example, vitamin A is synthesized from acetone, okay? So don't just buy yourself. And by the way, also they're mega doses. They're mega doses. So if your doctor says you need to take this supplement or that supplement, go for it. But don't go buy a YouTube video or something you heard from other people or a Costco advertisement and go buy a bunch because it's on sale and buy a bunch of supplements and take it. I don't think it's healthy for you. But if your doctor says, go ahead, take that supplement, go ahead, okay? Always take the advice of your doctor. Now, H. pylori, this is very interesting, has a strategy to avoid the acidic environment with its motility. I'm just going to go quickly to the next one to show you that H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, has these flagella, and it uses it to move around, to swim around. So I'm going back, using its motility and with the aid of the enzyme urease, which catalyzes the breakdown of urea to ammonia and bicarbonate to buffer the stomach acid. Okay? Urea is the metabolite of the breakdown of protein. Why is there urea in the stomach of humans? It shouldn't be there. I'm going to explain to you why there is urea. And what is bicarbonate and ammonia? They're both alkaline, while the parietal cell wants to secrete acid. All right? So what happens is H. pylori actively swims and is attracted where? Toward injured epithelium of the stomach that produce urea as a metabolite by locating the epithelium with the help of chemoreceptors that the bacteria has, and locates nanomotilities of urea in injured epithelial cells. Did you understand that? The bacteria can locate nanomilliliters of urea in injured cells of your stomach that have urea coming out of it in nanomilliliters, and swims there and goes attached to it. Then it uses ammonia and bicarbonate to modify the host environment to buffer the acidity and colonize the epithelium of the stomach. So do I want my epithelium to be injured? So the Helicobacter pylori goes and finds it, goes and sits there and colonizes it? No, I don't. No. And even it goes inside the glands, inside the tubes of the glands of your stomach to cause damage to the glands that secrete hydrochloric acid. What do you need hydrochloric acid for in your stomach? Who knows? To digest protein, right? And you need pepsin too. But if your hydrochloric acid is low, you cannot digest protein, right? So you don't want the epithelium of your stomach to have any kind of injury. Brothers and sisters, if you're a migrant person, make sure you get checked for H. pylori. As I told you, more than half of the population of the world is infected in their stomach with H. pylori. Where does H. pylori come from? I showed you. Animals. Animals, meats, pork. You say, oh, but you know what? I don't eat pork. I eat cow meat. What do they feed cow meat with? For the last 40 plus years, they're feeding cows with the byproducts of chicken. So dear brothers and sisters, even if you stay away from pork, and God knows what they feed chickens with, okay? There is a reason why the Lord told us don't eat meat. It's dangerous, okay? Patients infected with H. pylori experience hypochlorhydria, low acid in the stomach, that could last from a few days to a few months. They suggested that the bacterium produces a protein that is capable of switching off parietal cells. I told you that already, and the intrinsic factor. Here is the article. I don't make it up, okay? Because you know what? About 50 years ago, they used to think the stomach is sterile because of the hydrochloric acid. When you eat meat, you bring bacteria in your stomach. I love this doctor, okay? She's wonderful. She says a lot of great things. She's a naturopath. and she's also she was a nurse before naturopathy. And I show you this because some of the church members have asked me about these things she says. She says, I looked at what causes a reduction in your hydrochloric acid. How can you increase it? Then she says, have the juice of a lemon with a tiny bit of boiling water just before the meal because your lemon is acid. Because your lemon is acid, it's a great digestive aid. What was the cause of hypochlorhydria? H. pylori or other bacteria, right? That attack the parietal cell from eating meat. So if I just take the lemon, and I'm going to show to you that lemon actually decreases the acid in your stomach. It doesn't increase it. Actually, many years ago, they used to treat low acid in stomach with acid. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. High acid in the stomach with acid. Why? I'm going to show you why. First of all, I tell you, these animal products that have bacteria, they go in your stomach and they lodge there. And here is the article that I used from Nutrition. New food approaches to reduce and or eliminate increased gastric acidity related to gastroesophageal pathologies. So if you have increased acidity, okay, what do? You put acid in it. This is just logical, right? If I have too much acid in my stomach, okay, and I put acid in my stomach, will my stomach secrete more acid or stop the acid because I already put acid in my stomach? You use your own mind and think. Okay? It's only logical because I put acid in my stomach is going to secrete less acid. Okay? So here it is, to assess the ability. Foods that are enriched with, that's from that article, I just enlarged the wording. Foods that are enriched with acid potential of hydrogen, lemon, tomato. Tomato is mostly acid when it's cooked, like in tomato sauce. Okay, I have known brothers in other churches who love spaghetti with tomato sauce, but they're migraine people. Okay, lemon is a very healthy food, but if you're a migraine person, you need to watch over citrus, okay? But my brother there at other church used to eat spaghetti with tomato sauce, and a few hours later, boom, migraine headache because of the acidity of the tomato sauce. But raw tomatoes are fine usually. But when it's cooked, it increases its acidity. To quickly and exponentially reduce symptoms that are related to reflux. So what I'm trying to tell you is the result during treatment and at the end of 2 weeks of treatment, the patients reported significant improvement, including an almost total disappearance of the symptoms. This study shows that a diet that is enriched with acid pH foods appeared to lead to a decrease in the pH of the stomach contents, thus inhibiting the further production of hydrochloric acid. So what the doctor said, is it true? Does it help in your digestion? From what I just explained to you from that article in Nutrition? No, it doesn't help the secretion of hydrochloric acid. It doesn't help your digestion. Here's another thing she says, okay, which is all over the internet. I love this lady. I'm not going to say her name. You probably all know her. She's very famous. The other thing you can do, she says, is to put 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in a little water and have that just before the meal. It tingles a bit, little bit. She means it burns your stomach. But she said, no, it doesn't burn. It just tingles you a little bit. But it will also wake up the gastric glands. It is in that way that you can increase your body's ability to digest. Here is an article which contradicts what she said. Be careful what naturopaths tell, okay? Because a lot of things that they know is from ancient Chinese medicine. It's not medical knowledge. Be very careful, all right? Effect of red pepper, cayenne is, another name for cayenne is red pepper, all right? On the stomach, I enlarged it here. Both red pepper and black pepper cause significant increase in parietal secretion and potassium loss. Gastric cell exfoliation. Remember I told you H. pylori goes and attaches where your epithelium is damaged? Can cayenne pepper damage the epithelium of your stomach? Yes, the article says that. Okay? Even though the doctor says it doesn't, the article says, then continue. Mucosal microbleeding was seen after spice administration, and one subject had grossly visible gastric bleeding after both red pepper and black pepper administration. Finally, no spice was significantly different from aspirin. It acts exactly like aspirin on your stomach. Have pity on your own body. Don't listen to these people on YouTube. Our health message goes against what she says. Okay? Here is the cayenne pepper, okay? Which also is the same shape as your stomach, by the way. Not only cayenne pepper makes your stomach sweat, increases mucus in your stomach, it makes it bleed. So if the epithelium is damaged, you get H. pylori. If the epithelium is damaged, it predisposes you to migraine headaches because the vagus nerve gets stimulated. All right? This is a story in Temperance and Bible Hygiene by Ellen and James White. And they went to this place at the train station to take a little refreshment. And this man came and took whiskey and added 2 spoons of black pepper and I don't know what else, a pepper sauce. And James White said that the stomach of this man is become as insensible as a burnt boot. So be very careful what you put in your stomach, okay? Be careful, because remember, food goes in your stomach, stays there to get digested and broken down, and from your stomach goes in other parts of your small bowel, then it gets absorbed to bring nutrients to your body. If your stomach doesn't work well, if your stomach is damaged, not only you can get migraine headaches, but also instead of nutrients, you get toxins in your body. You don't want toxins in your body. And here is what Ellen White says in Signs of the Time, 1888. I had used pepper and mustard in my diet, but these should not be put in the human stomach. The delicate membrane becomes inflamed. The healthy tone of the stomach is lowered. So it also decreases the tone of your stomach. Remember I showed you these 3 layers of muscle that need to be kept healthy in your stomach for good digestion? It also does lowers the tone of that. And the appetite is perverted. Why? Because it predisposes the person to take alcohol and other drugs. The taste loses its discernment, and the delicious flavors of grains, vegetables, and fruits become insipid and unpalatable. I'm not going to read all that. I just tell you that Ellen White, once her husband was sick, in case you see that in one of her writings, she prepared, she didn't know what to do. Her husband couldn't see, he had many medical problems because he worked extremely hard, he lacked sleep and good nutrition. But she prepared red pepper tea for him, but he never took it. He never took it because they took him to Dr. Kellogg, and he treated him and cleaned his stomach of whatever was fermenting or not doing well there. Another bacteria that is very similar to Helicobacter pylori is our good old syphilis. Okay, syphilis. Syphilis also looks like a spiral. That's why it's so hard to treat. It goes and lodges into different organs, into the nervous system, and it causes a lot of problems. Okay, if you have migraine headaches, so we understood that if you have migraine headaches, you don't want bacteria or germs in your stomach. You need to have a clean stomach, okay? Nutritional yeast, a lot of vegan people eat that. I have nothing against it, but in migraine people, from the way they make it, it gets MSG in it, from the way it's processed. So if you're a migraine person, stay away from nutritional yeast. Also, the way they make it, first of all, a lot of that yeast is genetically modified. Thank you very much. It's genetically modified, so it's not the regular yeast. But you tell me, oh, well, what about bread? We put yeast in the bread, right? When you bake bread, the yeast should die. But if you also read the writings of Ellen White, she bakes a lot of her breads without yeast, but she says if you use yeast, bake it twice. Why? She says, she doesn't explain why. But when you bake it twice, the yeast dies. Okay, nutritional yeast is an excitotoxin, okay? And it goes to the neuron and MSG also. And many of the natural flavors are single amino acids. You know what's an amino acid? It's the precursor of protein, right? But if you take amino acids, single amino acids, it becomes an excitotoxin. So it fires the nerve endings and then it kills them. But a lot of vegan foods do have excitotoxins, natural flavors. Some of them we tolerate, some of them we don't. So it's up to you to figure out which ones you can tolerate, which ones you don't. By the way, this nutritional yeast can give you this foggy depression in your brain where you feel like your brain cells are dying and you want to just cry, you know. A lot of Asian foods have MSG, and your fake meats have, read the ingredients. A lot of them have nutritional yeast. If you're a migraine person, read the ingredients of what you eat, because it can give you a headache. A lot of fake cheeses have nutritional yeast, but not tofuti. Tofuti does not have it. The one from Whole Foods, 365, does not have it. And Miyoko's puts culture in there. Remember, if you get migraine headaches, or even if you don't put cultures and bacteria in your stomach. But Miyoko butter, which tastes very good, but it has culture. If you're a migraine person, tomorrow you'll have a migraine headache. But this one doesn't. Okay? These don't have nutritional yeast. They have natural flavor, but they don't have nutritional yeast. These are from Trader Joe's. okay, these three, that Boursin now makes a dairy-free cheese. Some people get bad migraine headaches from dairy products. I personally don't, but some people are very sensitive to that. A lot of these sensitivities can also be inherited from your family. Like I'm very sensitive to citrus, extremely sensitive. My father and my grandfather were sensitive to that. Citrus is a healthy food, but I'm sensitive to it. I get migraine headaches with it. Now, 2 days ago, I was at Costco, and I had 2 sips of silk oat milk. Well, Thursday, I had a migraine headache all day. I thought about it. What did I ate everything as usual. I remembered a Costco sample. So be careful when you eat samples because it can give you migraine headaches. Now, why? Because this oat milk, they add vitamin B12. Vegans, you need to take your vitamin B12, okay? It's important because low vitamin B12 can cause neurologic disorders, and but somehow the supplement doesn't do what it does when you add it to food. I don't know if when they add it to food, for the natural flavor, maybe they use a nutritional yeast. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to, that's how they make that. I'm not going to talk about B12. We'll talk about that if we do digestion. So you don't want bacteria or yeast in the stomach, or you're going to get sick. And these are the symptoms which I told you. Many times people think they have colds, but it's bacteria in their stomach, okay? Okay, acid fruits, I'm going to go through these, through these fast. It can, even sweet lemons can give migraine headaches if you have a sensitivity. Sour grapes, sour apple, pomegranate, sour cherries, be careful with these, okay? Now, citrus have something called octopamine, which, remember I showed you hydroxythyramine. Remember, tyramine is also in cheese. That's why it can also give you a headache, okay? And also because it's acid, I explained to you, when it gets in the stomach says, okay, I'm not going to secrete acid. Food ferments in your stomach. When food ferments, becomes corrupt in your stomach, well, you get toxic gases. Toxic gases will give you the headache, okay? I grew up with a lot of acid foods from Iran, limes, pomegranate, molasses, which is very acid, sour grapes. Okay, overeating can give you headache. Now, overeating is not always just the amount, it's also variety. I grew up with a table with a huge variety of colors and foods. You know, when you eat too much variety, your stomach is in shock, all right? Some foods are very hard to digest, such as sour bread. Sour bread is not good, okay? Ellen White writes in detail about sour bread. Don't eat sour bread. Of course, cheeses and pizza, hours later or tomorrow, you can have a headache. I told you that you can bake your bread twice to kill the germs in there, the yeast. Some vegetables also have gases that give gases that have nitric oxide in it that causes vasodilation. Some people are sensitive to onion, radishes, cabbage. So you have to decide yourself what causes your headache, all right? There are meats that have nitrates in it. Those meats give headaches to a lot of people, but we Adventists, we don't eat those. And don't snack between meals. Why? Because if you already have food in your stomach, you snack, what happens to the meal that was there before? It doesn't get digested well. I don't know, I didn't hear what you said. but it doesn't get digested well. Then you grow bacteria, okay? Late night dinners and snacks can give you headaches tomorrow morning. People working from home, they eat these late dinners because they take all the work from home, okay? Imagine your stomach while you're sleeping has to work all night, okay? All these condiments, I told you, they put your stomach on fire. Coffee, tea, chocolate are well known to cause, not only their acidity causes damage to the epithelium of the stomach, but they cause headaches, okay? They all have caffeine, okay? Don't take them. You know, deer, if they go near a plant, the tree that makes the tree tea leaves, they stay away from it, because if they eat it, they feel sick. They know they shouldn't eat that, but we humans, we take those toxic, poisonous leaves and we make tea with it. So irritation of the stomach, gastric acid, intestinal catarrh, and then excess buildup of mucus and ulcers. So stop caffeine if you have trouble, because it gives you bad headaches. When you stop it, do this program. Week 1, 3/4 coffee, 1/4 coffee substitute. Week 2, half and half. These are coffee substitutes. Week 3, 1/4 coffee, 3/4 coffee substitute. 4th week, you're clear from the toxin, okay? Carob, instead of chocolate, you can make your own chocolate bar with these, okay? It looks like that, all right? It's easy. Make tea with flowers, with herbs, okay? You can make tea with the peel of your apples, wash it well, or with apple juice, all right? But make sure you use sweet apples, not sour apples. And then when you're detoxified from tea and coffee, go through your cupboard and throw your coffee and tea out, because that's poison, okay? When it's time to eat, eat. It's not because of hypoglycemia that you get a headache, because if you check your blood sugar when you're hungry, your blood sugar is fine. What is it? Is, as I told you, tick-tock, tick-tock. Your body says it's time to eat. It secretes acid in your stomach. If you don't have food in it, it damages the lining of your stomach, okay? Constipation causes toxic gases, okay? Some people are very sensitive to constipation, but the headache is a little different, the pattern. You wake up okay, you can't move your bowels well, by evening you get the headache because the toxic gases build up, okay? Some people are sensitive to fake sugars, all right? Hair dye can give you headaches. Brazilian, or I don't know what's hair straightening. When I go to the hairdresser, I take my own products, some essential oils. And if this afternoon or tonight you fight and yell at home with your family members and you're a migraine headache, tomorrow night you'll have a migraine headache, because it affects your stomach. It secretes acid, it contracts your stomach, it causes a migraine headache, I assure you. If you fight a lot at home, have peace, because that's one cause of your migraine headache, okay? And also, if you keep getting migraine headaches and you get rid of everything, tell your doctor also to check for gastroparesis. Remember those muscles around your stomach? They may have lost their tone. Alcohol immediately paralyzes your stomach, okay? Make sure you spend your daily outdoor time. This is the diaphragm. It's right above your stomach. Make sure you take fresh air, you take deep breaths, okay? You take your daily walk, because it helps in emptying of your stomach, your diaphragm, okay? Expand your lungs. We talked about that. And gentlemen, be nice to your wives. Ladies are of weaker constitution, okay? Despite everything they say on TV and the news, we are weaker. And how many things can you do? One person can do, okay? Work only in Western countries, the woman works and does everything else, all right? And then has to also be romantic to the husband. Well, you know what? Have mercy on that woman, all right? Drink your water. Ladies, before your periods, drink your water because you may get migraine headache. By the way, make sure you don't, ladies who are younger, don't take foods high in cholesterol before your periods because it modifies your hormones. Remember, cholesterol is the precursor to estrogen and progesterone. So your body doesn't need it to come from outside much. You just take your good fats and your body makes its own. And of course, drink your water. Keep your stomach clean by drinking lots of water. Very important. At least you need 12 cups of water. I'd say 16. Okay? How to get rid of migraine fast? I'm almost done. I'm sorry. Take a walk outside. Heavy exercise can increase the level of endorphins and get rid of the toxic gases. So if you have the strength, go for a run. Force yourself if you can. Go for a swim, or early in the morning before the sun comes out, go for a walk. And you can put a wet towel on your head, on your back, on your stomach, and put your feet in warm water. These do work, but the feet in warm water, it has never worked with me. They even sell the wet pack on Amazon if you want it. So you can put it on your head, on your belly, you know. And I told you about all this. These will damage the epithelium of your stomach. I understand sometimes you need it, and this belladonna, which is a natural migraine relief, is poison. Poison, don't take it. I'm sorry. It's poison. You can do your own research. Don't just go with what I tell you. And you need to keep your body cool. If you have one of those luxury cars, put the coolness on your seat, the air conditioning, and let it hit you if you don't have the wet pack, all right? Of course, you need to rest, sleep, and some people vomiting. Why vomiting helps? Because it gets the toxic gases out, and also it decreases the pressure in the brain. It works with some people, you know. Don't make noise if your family members are having a headache. They need to rest, okay? Sometimes it helps when you put a little pressure around your eyes. Now, the newest treatments is stimulation with electricity. I have had that on my ribs. I tell you, it burnt my skin. It burnt me. I had to go to the urgent care. I only had 2 treatments. I had to go to the urgent care center. I don't know what to say. You know, I mean, anyway. Remote electrical. How can you walk around with that thing on your head all day to stimulate and throw electricity to prevent a migraine? That doesn't sound right. I mean, if you want to try it, but remember, it's electricity. Okay, they use electricity with depression. The person, of course, that's a lot stronger, but they put the person to sleep before they do that. But when she or he wakes up, she can't remember the past. Her memory has changed. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they need to come up with some idea, but they don't want to tell you what causes the headache. Stay away from the cause. Eliminate those things that cause the headache in your diet, in your lifestyle, and you'll have a headache-free life. About 85 to 90%, unless you go to Costco and try their samples without reading the ingredients. Now, that's my 2 last slides. Acupuncture is Chinese medicine, all right? Ancient Chinese medicine. Should you get acupuncture? Oh, Who said yes? I'm going to show you what Ellen White said. Okay? Listen carefully. No, this is not funny. This is not funny. Read what she says. There are many who shrink with horror from the thought of consulting spirit mediums, but who are attracted by more pleasing forms of spiritism, are led astray by Oriental religions. The apostles of nearly all forms of spiritism claim to have the power to cure the disease. They attribute their power to electricity, magnetism, the so-called sympathetic remedies, or to latent forces within the mind of man. And there are not a few, even in this Christian age, who go to these healers instead of trusting in the power of the living God and the skill of a well-qualified Christian physician. The mother, watching by the sickbed, her child exclaims, "I can do no more. Is there no physician who has power to restore my child?" She is told of the wonderful cures performed by some clairvoyant or magnetic healer. That's acupuncture. And she trusts her dear one to this charge, placing it as verily in the hand of Satan as if he were standing by her side. In many instances, the future life of this child is controlled by a satanic power, which it seems impossible to break. I'm sorry. You may hate me, you can get up and leave, but I had to show you that. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to tell you that. Okay? Anything from Chinese ancient medicine is spiritism. All right? Sorry. And don't listen to Dr. Berg. He's a chiropractor, and he speaks more about health. Just go see how many fact checkers there are about him on the internet. The man is a chiropractor. Okay, I know you know, but where is his scientific data about what he says? Okay? I tell you, the end. Yes. I'm sorry, I cannot hear what you're saying. He says a few good things. I'm not saying, but mixing truth and error, mixing truth and error is not right. Yes. I still cannot hear you. Wait, you can come closer if you want. You can come closer. Because if I move, the camera doesn't cover me. Yeah. That's fine. If it works for you, that's fine. That's fine. But be careful. Fact check him. Fact check what he says. Okay, check with your doctor if what he says is really what should be done.
Yeah, he's really on fasting. He's really believe in fasting. I don't know.
He's good at fasting?
Yeah, he really promotes fasting. That's where I start fasting. And it's like fasting cure everything. I don't know what's your comment on fasting. It's like, if you're sick, don't eat.
My comment, always, I tell you what, always check what these doctors say with our health message, okay? Ellen White says have 2 meals a day, all right? Okay, she says put about 5 hours between 2 meals. And she says if you're feeling sick or anxious or stressed, don't eat, skip the meal, all right? So if what he says, checks with what your doctor says and what our health message says, go for it. But if he says you need 7 cups of vegetables per day in your stomach to get enough magnesium or nutrients, you know what 7 cups of vegetables per day? That's too much. I don't watch him anymore. Yes. Yes.
You know, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm not sick, but I'm getting a lot of mucus. And I know I heard you talking about cayenne pepper.
Yes.
I use a lot of cayenne pepper because I thought when you feel like you have a cold, it's supposed to help you. But I noticed that, you know, I feel like it's getting worse and I get a lot of, you know, mucus coming out.
Well, mucus, mucus is also a sign that there is something going on with your digestion, both mucus and sinus problems. So try to keep your stomach healthy, and also don't eat the late night dinners. And take fresh air. Probably you do, but the mucus will go down in your nose and in your head, in your sinuses also, because everything is connected to everything else. But listen, I don't know what to say about cayenne pepper, but I did not find a good scientific article saying that it's good for anything really. I mean, that scientifically it has been proven. If you find it, show it to me, all right? Yes.
Well, I have a friend that he was a missionary doctor.
Yeah.
And he said that
They
had
take
a
cayenne
friend,
pepper with them.
Yeah, he had a friend
everywhere.
that he was having a heart attack.
Right.
Sometime, and he gave him a cayenne pepper, and he
Oh yeah.
opens up his.
Oh yeah. In situations of emergency, okay, it's a stimulant. It's a stimulant. So if you have an emergency, use what you have available. But on a daily basis, you don't want to use it because it damages the epithelium of your stomach, even though the naturopath says it doesn't. Okay? And what I don't understand a little bit about cayenne pepper is that how come if you have an ulcer in your stomach, they say it closes it and it heals it, but on the other side, it increases circulation in your blood. I mean, something that opens the arteries and circulation, how come it closes the wound on your stomach? I'm a little confused. So for me, it's just a question of being a stimulant. Okay? It's a stimulant. So don't use a stimulant chronically on a long term. And I showed you that Ellen White made a red pepper tea for her husband James when he wasn't able to talk and he was sick. But finally she didn't give it to him. So if you have an emergency, that's fine. But by the way, did you know that tobacco has vitamin C? Tobacco has vitamin C. Does that mean every day I should take tobacco? No. Okay? I'm sorry. I have to, we have some myths that are coming from the foreign countries. You just need to understand what's right and wrong. Yes?
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
About decaf coffee. Is it also
About
as
what?
bad?
I'm sorry, about what?
Decaffeinated coffee?
Oh.
Is it as bad as the regular one?
Yeah. Decaf coffee still has a percentage of caffeine in it. So you can check that yourself. I'm not making it up. It's all over the internet. It has at least 4 to 5% caffeine. Number 2, it's very acid. So it does damage the epithelium of your stomach. Why can't you stop coffee? Why do you insist on drinking coffee when our prophet has said don't drink it? Why? Why when there are substitutes? There are substitutes. Pfft, go take that and enjoy it. Yes.
What about those things that I see ads for where they say you can put something in your ear and it will change your ear pressure and cure your migraine?
Well, they try finding all these new things, but I imagine it's by stimulation of the trigeminal nerve. By the way, also, I want to tell you, I don't know today, but in the past, the way they decaffeinated coffee was by using carcinogen chemicals. Okay? I just remember. And now they have taken it away. But until a few years ago, every time you entered Starbucks, there was a notice on the wall saying that we warn you that you're taking a carcinogen. Coffee itself, above a certain amount per day, is a carcinogen. Okay? It's a stimulant and it's a carcinogen. It damages the wall, the epithelium of your stomach. And there are substitutes. Look, there are substitutes. And that thing you put in your ears, I don't know what to say. I haven't read it, but it must be the stimulation or inhibition of the trigeminal nerve, because the trigeminal nerve does cover the ear, the sensory of the ear. Anything else? Yes?
What about turmeric and ginger?
Ginger, that's true. In naturopathy, they say, Paul asked about turmeric and ginger for headache. In naturopathy, they tell you to take lemon with ginger or ginger. Has anyone put grated ginger on their knee for pain or on their joint? What does it do? It heats up, right? It emanates heat. It takes away the heat because It takes away the pain because it emanates heat, right? So if my blood vessels are enlarged in my brain or in my stomach, why do I want to bring heat to it and make it worse? That's my question. Especially many people with migraine headaches are sensitive also to citrus and lemons. So I have done that. I have done what you said. And so you get the headache in the morning, it clears up at night. Tomorrow again you get a new headache. And I have had headaches where I couldn't feel or apprehend the left side of my body when I was getting headaches every day. It was very, very scary. So I had to go by elimination diet to clear up. Yeah, and turmeric is fine if your stomach can take it. With me, it gives me reflux, but it's a root. Yes, Carol? Yeah, Karen. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to ask about sweet lemon.
Yes,
Yeah.
sweet lemon is very good.
Yeah,
Citrus
because I like it.
Citrus is very healthy fruit. It's very healthy, but some migraine people have a sensitivity to protamine, and also because their stomach, they get indigestion. Food, because when citrus comes, causes fermentation of the food. But yeah, sweet lemon is very healthy food. Go for it. Eat as much as you wish. Citrus is healthy. It's healthy food. Yes.
I'd like to go back to the acupuncture.
Yes.
The traditional Chinese
Yes.
medicine.
Yes.
And I'm a little bit familiar with the meridian system and how those pathways work in the body. For example, she was just talking about the ginger and being able to use ginger, which comes from like a Chinese tradition.
Yeah, ginger is a healthy food. You can have it in your food. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to understand, or I'd like to understand, is how the acupuncture itself, the needles used for the acupuncture, is spiritism. As Christians, we should not do it, or no. Okay.
No. The needles do not bring spirits or anything. What she means is that it's the power of Satan that heals. Do you understand what I'm saying? Many people don't feel any, don't get any results. Some people get results with acupuncture. Some people don't. It doesn't work on everyone, right?
That's true.
You agree with
Absolutely.
that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. But if you believe in it,
Yeah.
and you go to a doctor who believes in it and does it on you, she says, the prophet of God, that it's the power of Satan that heals you. By the way, I have known one lady who was having some medical problems that she couldn't get rid of it, and there was this healer, evangelical healer in town. So she was going to church every Sabbath, a Bible student. She decided, I want to get rid of this. I'm sick of this pain. I want to get rid of it. So she went to the healer, and the healer did, you know how they do. They put their hand, Jesus Christ, whatever. And the pain went away. But gradually she realized that she's losing her interest in the Bible. She's losing her interest in God. She doesn't want to pray anymore. She doesn't want to read the Bible anymore. So she went to her pastor and explained to him. And he said, that's what happened. It's the power of Satan. This is not voodoo. I'm not telling you voodoo, okay? Because so she had to repent, pray to God, go back studying, and the Holy Spirit took over her again. But I'm not saying that. The prophet of God said it. I'm just repeating to you what she says.
Yeah,
That's all.
I do understand.
Yeah.
I was just looking for the yoga. Actually, I used to practice yoga years ago regularly.
Yoga, yeah.
And that's also bowing down to, and most people
Yeah.
are ignorant to that because they don't. But it's actually
It's
bowing down to
energies. They say
spirits
energies and
when
spirits.
you do the actual practice itself.
Yes.
So I just was curious as to how it kind of works as a demonic gateway, is what you're saying. The same
Well,
way.
she says it's satanic power. I'm sorry, this is medical, but I had to speak about acupuncture, And by the way, there is a book. Let me just show you. I'm sorry. This book is by Edwin Noyes. He's an MD, an MPH. It's called Spiritualistic Deceptions, okay? And he explains how these Chinese or whatever medicine, ancient medicines, it's all the work of Satan, okay? And he quotes Ellen White, all right? And so if you want to read it, you're welcome. I haven't read the whole book, but extracts of it. It's hard to read all these books. There's too much literature, Anything else? Yes.
How about Pilates?
I'm sorry, what?
How about Pilates?
Pilates?
Yes, because the music they put is very looking like New Age, right? You have some spirits.
I tell you what, I don't know. Whatever has to do with ancient Chinese, it's probably has to do with spiritism. But you know what? If you just go there to exercise, it should be fine. If you just go there not because of the ambiance or the candles or the music, you just want to get your muscles toned. I mean, I would do aerobics, but I don't know. I'll do a research on Pilates. I'll tell you next time. I don't know. Yes.
How about the onion in your feet? What's this doing?
What in your feet?
The onion. You put it, slice the onion feet.
Oh,
what
sure. It's
what?
supposed to take out the toxins. All these treatments are great, okay? They're great, but the best thing is to get the toxins by changing your diet and your lifestyle in your whole body. Okay? Because the herbs and onions and all that, okay, it's a short-term thing. Even acupuncture, it doesn't last for a long time. It's a short-term thing. But you need to get your body in shape and get the toxins out. And I see David is standing up. Anything else? I see there are fewer people who get headaches than, yes, sure.
A quick question. The apple vinegar, apple cider vinegar, I hear it's good for your stomach if you dilute it in 1 tablespoon of warm water in the morning. It says that wakes up all your organs. Is that true?
Oh, how does apple vinegar wake up all your organs? Sister, use your mind.
Well, that's what they say,
Listen, last time, 5 weeks ago, we talked about infectious diseases, and people asked me about vinegar. Vinegar is the next step after alcohol.
Oh.
It's fermented apple juice, okay? But then, like, you have apple cider, but go one step further. Something acid that eats up the walls of your stomach can wake up all your organs. That's why I tell you, think. Don't just listen to these people. Use your mind and compare with our health message. Our health message says, don't eat vinegar. Don't drink coffee.
Okay.
Listen to her. Because God loves us.
Yes.
If He didn't love us, He wouldn't give us dietary or lifestyle advice. And you know very well that at the end, during our time, and after the passage of the Sunday law, there is going to be miracles of healing are not going to be like during the time of Jesus. Okay? There's going to be a group of people who have followed the health message and bring the message to other people who are healthy. Do you understand? But it's going to be the Babylonians who are going to do the healings with the power of Satan. So listen to what she says before probation closes so you can go through that time of trouble and be part of the 144,000, because so your body has the strength. Okay?
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you very
Amen.
much. Thank you.
Doctor, last question.
Yes, sure.
How do you rate our potluck?
I'm sorry, what did she ask?
How do you rate our potluck? Potluck food.
How do you rate our potluck?
I tell you that while I was listening to the pastor's message, it was coming to my mind that Los Alamitos Church is a piece of heaven on earth. Praise God for this church, and your potluck has one of the best quality foods of all the other churches I have seen. The only criticism I have is cheese in your foods, some of your foods. That's the only big criticism that I have, okay? Huh? Well, if you have to eat cheese, I would go with the softer cheeses, like cottage cheese, that are good quality from cows that are pasture-fed, organic, if you really have to eat cheese. But the older cheeses, they're not that good for you, full of bacteria. And the brother knows it's bacterial poop, because the bacteria eats everything and leaves the rest for you. All right? Yes, they're healthy. They're healthy. As I told you in the slide, some of them have nutritional yeast. If you get migraine headaches, read the ingredients, because nutritional yeast or fermented bacteria can give you headaches. But if it doesn't give you the headache, go for it. Eat it. All right? It's fine. Yeah.
So what do we say now for Dr. Rosita? Amen, and thank you so much.
Praise
Thank
God.
you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome.
Let's have a prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Our most gracious, loving Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your health message that we keep having every month at our church. Help us to learn and apply into our daily life and keep our life healthy for you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Just one thing I want to say is by reading our health message, I have done search in the medical field and have come up with answers. Because if it wasn't for the writings of Ellen White, I'd be probably having a stroke now or migraine headaches or terrible. The writings of Ellen White, read it and reread it and see if it applies to you, because it gives you wisdom with prayer. Thank you, David.
Another.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
I hope that we will
Thank
keep
you.
giving you certificate every time you come.
Thank you. Thank
so
you very much.
Yes.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
And be happy and healthy.
And thank you for your family to join you every time.
Praise God. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.